And before we talk about the topic, which is we eat way too little, but we eat way too often, I want to just remind you that I'm going live Monday, November 25th at 6:30 p.m. But I'm not going live on here on YouTube. You have to register because it's a Zoom. So everybody who registers gets a link to my Zoom live where I will be discussing how I am savvy and sugar free, and how the 5 steps that I took to actually get there, the 5 steps that I took to reverse my pre-diabetes diagnosis and to finally get on the other side of my sugar addiction. So with that said, I also want to remind you to go ahead and subscribe to my channel. I'm looking to get to 1,000 subscribers. I've slowed down a couple of numbers. I was doing really well, and now I'm a little stagnant. So if you could help me out by subscribing and sharing this with somebody that you think and maybe even know that might be interested in what I talk about when I jump on to CFIT coaching, Savvy Solution, is sugar and savvy and sugar free, everything that I do here on my channel, I would appreciate the shout out. I would definitely appreciate that you do that. And on here, on my channel, you can also find recipes. You find the things that I'm cooking. You'll find food ideas. You'll also find exercises, full exercises, total body exercises, upper body, lower body, strong, core exercises, and even no joint exercises, and no, how do you call it, no impact or very very low impact exercises. I do stretches and mobility work. I all kinds of things. I have interviews with folks. I have just so much on this channel. I would love for you to take a deep dive and just enjoy some of the material that I have on here. So let us get to the topic. We eat way too little and we eat way too often. And what do I mean by that? So at the height of my sugar addiction, I was eating maybe an hour and a half. I was eating every hour and a half. Yeah. And what I was doing was I was having a very small breakfast. My small breakfast could have been a really humble smoothie, maybe with some protein powder, and more than likely just vegetables and fruits. And I think at the time I was dabbling in protein powders because protein powders come sweet. They were vegan protein powders, but they were sweet. The ones I were getting anyway. I never looked at the sugar content because I was consuming all the sugar and I wanted all the sweetness. And I would add in a banana, etc. It was a mess. And it was a humble serving. So by the time I got to work, it was time for food again. So I would probably, what people would consider a snack, right? Almonds or things like that. And then I literally had on a post-it, and still do, and I keep it there just to remind myself of where I've come from. I have a sticky note on my wall that gave me the times that I was supposed to eat, and the times were 2-hour intervals. So if I was eating at 10, my next meal was at noon, but 11 o'clock came around and I'm like, I want more. So I was eating again. So I would go across the street to the bodega and grab maybe some more nuts. And then I would go and get a protein bar. And then I would go and by noon or 1 o'clock, it was time for lunch. So I had a bigger meal, but it still wasn't enough to satiate me. It wasn't enough to fill me up. It was just enough to calm that craving because I knew in another hour and a half, it was going to be time for me to eat again. Now, did I find something wrong with that? Yeah, I was just like, I'm always thinking about food. I'm totally obsessed with food, but that's the way I am. So there was nothing else that I can do about it, I felt, or so I thought. Guys, if you find yourself snacking or feeling the need to snack, or even just snacking if you're not hungry, just because the food or the fruit is there. I was eating a lot of fruit too, don't get me wrong. So when people saw me eat, they were like, Carmelle's so healthy. But it's not healthy to eat every hour and a half. It's not even healthy to eat every 2 hours. And what is healthy then, Carmelle? The healthy is for you to eat at least 3 times a day, maybe, and with hours in between. I should have my breakfast, and not feel hungry again for another 4 to 5 hours. And any of you who's saying 4 to 5 hours, no, 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 no. How about 3? How about 2.5? Well, I'll do the 4.5 hours. I'll do the 4 hours. But can I do a snack in between? Therein lies the problem, right? Because I had 3 meals a day, but between each, I had 2 or 3 snack events, right? I was eating maybe 9 times, 11 times a day, simply because of the snacking in between. Now, of course, my snacking were not real meals, but I wasn't snacking just for the sake of nutrition. I was snacking because I literally needed and wanted something in my body. I wanted to taste something. Of course, I was serving an addiction. I was feeding an addiction. And at the time, I'm just kind of like, oh, I wasn't calling it an addiction. Why would I call it an addiction? It was just how my body was working. What happens is that when we eat, every time we eat, our blood sugar spikes, and as soon as it dips, as soon as it crashes, we're left in this weird space where the body wants more, especially if you're consuming a lot of sugar or ultra processed foods, which happens to have a lot of sugar. And that was my diet. I was consuming the fruit, yes, but I was also consuming the ultra processed foods, be it the protein bars, and like I was saying, things off the shelves, not potato chips. I was like a plantain chip girl, right? Or honey roasted peanuts. All of my meals, no matter how small or how big it was, had a sweet component. Maybe I put dates in my food, in my lunch and my dinner, right? Or raisins. Always had a sweet component in each of my meals. From my nuts, honey roasted peanuts, a trail mix with some chocolate chips in there, etc. Breakfast, extra bananas on top of my very, very sweet protein powder. So you're getting the idea. But our bodies are not supposed to be consuming so much. It just keeps our blood sugar levels high at a very consistent rate throughout the course of the day, which increases our levels of insulin and eventually makes us insulin resistant. There you have it. I'm going to have a little bit more of this information on my masterclass on Monday, November 25th. November 25th at 6:30 p.m. Eastern. I want to see you there. Go ahead and subscribe, hit the like button, and if you have any questions about what I just said, since I really explained it so quickly, and so many people feel like it's the norm, it's like, oh, this was my snack, this was my snack. We do not need to be snacking. Well, we need to be snacking if we're feeding an addiction. However, we're not supposed to be snacking. We're supposed to be consuming a meal and literally feeling satiated and being satiated for the next 4 to 5 hours before our next meal. All right. So I'm going to say bye for now. Thanks for joining me. I'll see you again tomorrow. And don't forget to subscribe. Thanks.